Well, hello everybody. How you doing? Dave Fennoy here, and this is Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. It's another Wednesday, so here we are. And of course, I'm looking for your questions, but before we jump into those, a couple things I want to talk about. It's kind of a busy weekend coming up here in Los Angeles for those of us who are in the business. Going to have folks in from out of town, and some of us are going to be getting dressed up on Sunday and going to the Voice Arts Awards. Proud to say I'm a nominee, but very proud to say I am one of the presenters. Also on Saturday, I hope that everybody with an earshot and video shot is going to be spending time at That's Voiceover. It is one of the better voiceover conventions. Now, I've heard some really good things about this last weekend at WovaCon. Good stuff, and certainly not saying that it is lesser. I just haven't been to one of those yet. And I've been to That's Voiceover, and it's a great opportunity to meet lots of your fellow voice actors, to present yourself to people in the industry, get some questions answered, and learn some things about voiceover and a voiceover career and how to get your career going, and even opportunities to get an agent, get your demo listened to and critiqued. Lots of good stuff going on. So I certainly hope you'll take advantage of that. And if you haven't gotten your tickets already, the Voice Arts Awards, where we give ourselves a chance to pat each other on the back and congratulate each other for the fine work that we do. There's an old saying, poor dog. It's a poor dog that won't wag its own tail. So we work really hard. We do some good things, and we deserve recognition for what we do. Also, I want to say that Connection Open. Oh yeah. Speaking of That's Voiceover and the Voice Arts Awards, and this is mostly for That's Voiceover, got a question here, Dave. I've got to ask if there's a dress code at That's Voiceover. The etiquette I grew up with won't let it slide. You know, this is not the kind of event I would go to in jeans and a t-shirt. I think business casual is appropriate. So, fellas, nice slacks, nice shoes, nice shirt. You can wear some tennis shoes, not just your old funky ones, you know. Jeans are okay, but with a nice shirt, not tennis shoes. And your better jeans, not the bad jeans. Sport jackets are fine. You don't have to wear a suit, but if you wear a suit, you're not overdressed. And of course, for the Voice Arts Awards, you want to look your very best. Dressed to the nines, shiny shoes, tuxedos, or something like it. Beautiful gowns for the ladies. It's an event where we're presenting our best, awarding our best. Let's look our best. I'm going to have to work hard, but I'm going to do my best to look good on that night. Also, before we get into some questions, and I'm going to mention this again. You've heard me talking about Connection Open, and I want to mention something else. Delete that note. I want to mention something else about Connection Open. They are ready to get started, and to get started, they're doing something for free. You can sign up and use Connection Open for free. Well, why would they do that? They would do that because they want you to know how wonderful it is. And I really feel like if you sign up and start using it, get some of your friends to sign up. You'll get free connections, and you can try it back and forth with each other. Might even want to try it with me. And here's what you do. You go to connectionopen.com and sign up. You will get a confirmation email. Click on that email and download the program. Click on the icon or find it in your applications folder, and get yourself set up there, and then send a note to Randy at connectionopen.com, RAND, Connection, you know how to spell it. Open, you know how to spell that, .com. Randy@connectionopen.com. And with the email address that you used on Connection Open, and let Randy know that, hey, I just downloaded Connection Open. I'd like to try it out. Can you please send me some free passes? He will, and then you'll have a chance to try it out. And I'll mention this again before the hour is up. And so let's move on. And in my note today, I said, well, hey, you can start asking questions now. Then I've got something to start with. And I want to say thanks to the young man who left a question. He says, I need to make my first set of demos, but I can't afford a pro. I'll need to contrive my spots as I haven't done any real work yet. Would using stock music in the background sound too unauthentic, even though in a 60, each segment would only be a few seconds? Wow, there's a lot in that I want to cover. First of all, especially if you've never done this before, if you have no experience as a voice actor, you haven't done any real work yet, is the term you used. I wouldn't make my own demo, despite the fact that maybe you've gone to lots of sites, lots of agent sites, and listened to demos, and maybe you don't know, you're thinking about a 60-second commercial, that demos, especially commercial demos, are running at about 60, is what you're shooting for. But there's so much else that goes into your demo. The copy has to be right. Every actor needs to be directed. How you put that together, unless you've been an engineer and this is something that you've done, putting together spots and mixing, I think you're setting yourself up for failure. And I'll tell you why the failure. Because chances are your demo won't be good. And just because your demo isn't good doesn't mean you're not good. But it's a little bit of a different animal than just doing the work. Your demo has to showcase who you are and what you can do, and help people's imagination with, gee, this voice would sound great on this. Help an agent go, I think we can book this guy. Demos are coming in at a very high standard now, because people are paying good money. I understand the idea that it costs you a lot of money and maybe you feel like you just don't have it right now. What I would suggest is saving your money and wait until you have enough to get the demo done professionally, where you have somebody that's helping you get the right spots for your voice, where you have someone who is going to mix it correctly, record you correctly. You don't want to send the thing that you put together, and chances are it's not going to be good. You may be ever so wonderful as a voice talent, but if this is the first thing you're going to do, you're asking a lot of yourself. Chances are it's not going to be good. Now you've made a poor impression with the agents you send it to. You've made a poor impression with prospective clients if you're putting it on your website. I really, really, really recommend you slow down and save some money and get that demo done professionally. There are a lot of good people out there who do them. I'm not saying they'll cut you a break, but they might let you do it in payments or something like that. But don't try to do this first demo on your own. I did that. It was terrible. It was just terrible years ago. And it's a much more competitive business now than it was then. All right. Let's see what else. I'll delete that note. Let me scroll back up to the top. Hello, everybody. What's up, Amos, Ryan, Mark, Chris Anthony? Congratulations, Chris. I saw your note. Randy Morrison, Craig, Doug. Great to see you, Dave. Best of luck. Oh, thank you. Stephen Clark, how are you, man? And we're going to have to get together and talk about that project. Mary Claypool, kudos, Hazan. Questions. Hey, Michael T. from Florida. From Melbourne, Australia. Get down under there. Hey, Greg. Melinda. Dave, just want to say hello. I love you and miss you, and representing you was one of the best times in my life. You are incredible, and hanging with you at home in California that time in 2000 was so memorable. Thank you. That is so sweet of you to say. I'm not sure I'll make the awards, but okay. We got some questions here. Thomas, how are you? Hey, come on. There's some questions here. I love the hellos. I love the webinar last night. Thank you. I did a webinar last night with Julie Williams, who's been teaching and doing voiceover for a long time. Good teacher, good talent, and it was 2 hours, which to me is always too short to go through. It was voice acting for video games, and the lecture, I got to race through it to get through it in an hour, and then get some reads in. But it was a good time, and we had a couple of good reads. Hey, Dave, I'm thinking about getting into voice acting. I was wondering what should I do to get started? Whew, is that not the question? Sometimes you want to try something, and when you look at everything you have to do, it kind of looks like eating an elephant. It's just so big. Where do I begin? I would recommend that you begin with training. And before you start spending money with training, I would recommend you go to sites like mine, my YouTube site, and listen back to some of these and other things that I have posted about voiceover. Go to Bill DeWeese's site, go to Nancy Wolfson's site. There are all kinds of good teachers for whatever genre you are interested in that have free YouTube channels that give you a lot of information about voiceover and every genre of voiceover. And the reason that you want to do that is you want to start understanding what the language is, what the jargon is, taking it in so that when you finally do start spending some money, it's not all new to you. There's so much that you kind of have to take in. And if you already have a little bit of a head start that you didn't spend any money on, you're miles ahead. Once you've done that, start taking some classes. You can take them online or you can take them in person. And I recommend classes because of a couple of reasons. One, you get to see other people doing this and kind of get a sense of where you are talent-wise and skill set-wise with the people you are in class with. Two, you find out, do you have any talent for it at all? And do you like it? Maybe people have told you, well, you have that big, beautiful voice, you should do voiceover work. But maybe you won't like it. Find out. Do that before you start taking private lessons. Once you have gotten yourself to a position of, I'm ready to jump off this cliff into and fly in the world of voiceover, you need to get your demos done or a demo done. Most people start with a commercial demo, but you might want to start with a narration demo, say a corporate narr, if that's the direction you want to go in, or e-learning. Those two areas are burgeoning in work right now. Audio books as well, a lot of work there. Now, they aren't necessarily the most high-paying gigs in voiceover, but I know a lot of people doing very well doing e-learning and corporate narr and audiobooks, not necessarily all three or, two of the three or one of the three, but having great careers doing that. So you want to get that first demo done. You want a website, and that website, you can attract prospective clients and agents. If you're going the agent route, which I recommend, you want to start knocking on the doors of agents. So you're going to be sending emails to agents and starting to create a dialogue with them, a relationship with them. Don't be surprised if it takes you weeks, months, a year to get an agent and more. Agents are very, very busy. They're not going to get back to you right away. They may not listen to your demo right away. Helps if you have somebody that they know and trust, like maybe you were taking classes with me or Nancy Wolfson or any number of other people who are well known in the business. And they say, oh, yeah, you should listen to this guy. And keep in mind, though, just because you were suggested doesn't mean that they're going to sign you. They'll listen, but they might not sign you. They might have somebody just your type. They may not feel you're quite up to snuff. But that would be the next thing to do. I know we all are impatient. You want to jump into this business today and be making money by Friday. Doesn't work like that. This is not a get-rich-quick career. There are people who have done very, very, very well, and there's some people who just scraping by. And for whatever reason. But you want to make smart moves. You don't want to leave a bad impression the first time you get out there. So do your homework. Don't do what the young man was suggesting, creating his own demos first. It's not a good idea. There's going to be somebody who will create their own demo and do just fine. But it's not going to be most people. So I would avoid that and take your time, plan it out. I'm going to get an education in this. I'm going to put my demos together. Now I'm going to get my website together. I'm going to start contacting prospective clients and agents. Do it in a systematic way. I mean, we are artists, but we're also business people. Hope that helps. Oh, yeah, that was Derek. How do I get started? Wow. Oh, yeah, Maurice, see you this weekend, man. I have such a problem with my MacBook Air laptop running a cooling fan while I'm recording. I've tried Cool Block and Towel to no avail. I hear the fan when I edit. Move the fan out of the room where you're recording. Move the MacBook Air out of the room where you're. If you're in a booth, move it out of the booth. One of the things I would do, I'm not as familiar with the MacBook Air as I might need to be. I don't know what peripherals you can add to it. But I would assume that you can add another screen. I would assume you can add another keyboard and a mouse or touchpad. Connect another screen to it. Put the MacBook Air outside of the area where you're recording, outside of the room where you're recording. Run that cable to the screen, mirror the screen on the MacBook Air, and control the MacBook Air with one of these and one of these. Why did I pick that up? I could hit the wrong thing and we're gone. And that way, the fan's not close by. I hope what you have is a booth. If not, then maybe you want to create a booth for your MacBook Air. Maybe create something with foam or rock wool that you put the MacBook Air in and then run the cable someplace else. But put it a good distance away where you won't hear that fan. All right. There we go. All right. A lot of people checking in on Connection Open. That's a good thing. How can you tell if an agent you're looking into is a good fit for you? Good question, Michael. Talk to them. See who they're representing. If you can get an agent on the phone, good luck. Find out the kinds of things that they do. Different agents in town, not all the agents handle every aspect of the business. There are some agents that do commercials and narration and TV promos and video games and cartoons. And then there's some that only do, say, commercial and narration, or narration and animation, or whatever the combination is. And usually it's commercials, maybe TV promos, but not some of the other things. Or find out who's on their roster. Ask them. Send them a note. Find out. Ask them what they represent. And hopefully, and if they like you enough from sending in your demo, and you have that interview, that's when you ask. And always remember, your agent is working for you. They don't get paid unless you get paid. I know we all, oh God, I got an agent. Oh, I'm so glad. Oh, I won't bother them. I don't want them to be mad at me. It's part of your job to bother your agent, because you're not bothering them when you are asking them to help you get work. What do they think of your demos? What suggestions would they make? Is there anybody I should call? Is there anything else I should be doing? What percentage of work coming through your agency is in this area or this area or this area? Well, I'm interested in this area. I don't think we're a good fit. You're handling a lot of celebrities, and some of the people who aren't celebrities are falling by the way. These are the kinds of questions you want answered, and the best thing to do is just ask the person who is that agent. So that's what I would do. Find out if your goals match what they have available in the areas that they're working in. Oh my goodness, I finally caught you live. Well, there you go. Yeah, you did. Ha ha. Yeah, I'm back in time. Hey, Chris. Hey, bro, oh yeah. Wow, thank you for reminding me. Stan Lee, man. A giant has left us. He's no longer here. I don't know if you saw my Facebook comment, but I said, well, he really was a superhero. Imagine what our society would be like culturally without Stan Lee. No Spider-Man. None of the things he created. None of the things he created. All those characters. No Black Panther. All the characters he created, the number of comic books, the number of movies, the number of cartoons. If we hadn't had a Stan Lee. I don't know if any of you have seen any of the writings he used to do in the 60s and 70s in some of his comic books, but he was also a cultural hero. He was very much against racism and bigotry and wrote about it, made it plain. He is going to be missed, but thank you, Stan Lee, for leaving us so much here in the culture. So, all right. Are you going to see me at the Sovas this weekend? Well, I certainly hope so. I'm going to be looking my best. Thanks, Christopher. Any more questions here? What have we got? Come on now. We're only halfway through this thing. Somebody's got some more questions. You know what? Well, let me talk about going to That's Voiceover. Sometimes you go places and you're a little nervous, especially if you're new. You're going to see people like me and other voice actors that have been around for a while, and we'll be high-fiving and glad-handing and how you doing and what's going on and joking with each other and busting each other's nether parts, that kind of thing. And you may feel, if you're new, if you don't know people, you may feel a little nervous about joining in or butting in. But the reason that I am there, and I think lots of other people too, is to talk to people who are new in the game or trying to get things done, we love seeing our friends because we don't see them enough. We all have home studios now, so we just don't get the camaraderie that we once had when we were all going to our agents and meeting at studios. So don't feel bad if you see somebody that talking to a friend and, wow, that's so-and-so and so-and-so. I've heard him on this and this and this and this. It's okay to, excuse me, I just wanted to say hello and I had a question for you. And that's why we're there. We're not there just to say hello to one another. We're there for those who are looking to learn some things. And, okay. Oh, got some questions here. Is it worth trying to contact Atlas via agency? I think you meant if you're just starting. If you're good. If you think you're good enough and other people have told you you're good enough and maybe someone suggested contacting Atlas, go for it. And if you're good enough to contact Atlas, I would contact SBV and CESD and several other agencies that I'm missing. I hate it when I start mentioning people because then I forget some people and they think, well, how come he didn't mention me? It's just because the brain forgot. But I'd look into several of the better agencies if you feel like you're good enough to contact Atlas. They're a great agent. But there are other great agents in town. Don't limit yourself to just that one. How long should a video game demo run? Well, the rule of thumb for demos now is 60 seconds, but you can get away with 90 seconds. As a matter of fact, most of them are about 90 seconds. So, Katie, I would say 90 seconds. Isa, hey, how are you? Chris Lewis. You know what, Chris? I don't think I'm going to SuperCon in Louisville. Michael, can you see this? Yes, Michael T. I can see this, unless you're trying to show me something else other than what you wrote. Christopher, the home studio is nice, but it's made me sad. I miss the auditions at the production houses, too. It's the yin and the yang. If you're walking north, you can't see what's down south. Whatever direction you go in, you're leaving something behind. So that's just the way of the world now. A lot of us resist change, and yet change is the only constant. And change is happening faster now than ever. I know sometimes I'm running as fast as I can to keep from falling too far behind. If you want to do this business, you have to do this business as this business is at the time. And it's changing every day thanks to technology. When you look at Connection Open here, this is something brand new. And I think when people really understand what it's able to do, it's going to change a lot of things. The home studio, the advent of inexpensive but decent mics, the computer itself, the internet. Nowadays, you got a Mac, a microphone, and a high-speed internet connection, and you can do this business from everywhere or anywhere. But doesn't mean you can do all the work. There's certain things they're going to want you in studios in Los Angeles. The AAA games, most of the commercials, most of the high-end commercials and cartoons, they want you here. But more and more, I know a lot of people who started here, moved someplace else, and have great careers still going because they were established. And people felt compelled enough to use them that they, we'll use this technology that allows me to let you work from Kansas City or someplace in Europe or some island in the Pacific. Christopher Robin, if you dare, check out my demos at No Pressure. No pressure. If you dare. Do they bite? Let's see, Alvin. If you weren't doing work, what other interests or skill do you have? I got a little hobby of woodworking. Don't get to do nearly as much of that as I would like. If I weren't doing this, I'd probably be a history professor in some college someplace. That's probably what I'd be doing. Dean Muz. If California can't be home right now, can a person make a solid career in a place like Vancouver, looking to become very full-time ASAP? Absolutely. Once again, the internet has made much more available. You can work from anywhere. Doesn't mean every kind of job or every job is going to be available to you, but a lot of jobs will be. And one of the things that has happened, thanks to technology, there is more work now than ever before. The area of corporate narration, e-learning, audiobooks, that is the growth area for voice actors. And what it has allowed a lot of people to do is not worry about being high profile and doing cartoons and major commercial campaigns for the biggest clients. They're providing a service for smaller outfits or even big outfits, big corporations that are doing some things in-house or want a presence on YouTube, doing training videos and telephony. I mean, the number of jobs, it's just crazy. Figure out what it is you do well, what you want to do, and market yourself in that area. There's more work coming every day. All right. Cheers. Can you detail your studio stationary equipment and DAW? Yeah, I have a collection of microphones right now. I've got a 416 hanging in there. And why is somebody calling me now? Iona Morris, you know better. I'll call her back later. I have a couple different preamps. I've got an Avalon 737. I've got a Wheaton Vorus M1. And right now, what I'm connected to is an Aphex channel strip that is half resistor and half digital and half tube, and works really well and costs less than half of what I paid for the Avalon. But the Avalon, I've got good stuff. I'm in a whisper room. It's a 5x7, which is big enough. If I could have a 10x10, I'd have that, but it wouldn't fit in the area that I'm in. And for a DAW, well, for years I have used Pro Tools, but then Pro Tools decided it didn't like a computer I had about 5 years ago. And I started using Twisted Wave, and I've been using Twisted Wave ever since. I still have the Pro Tools, and I'll still pull it out if I need to add music to something or something like that. But 99% of the time, I am using Twisted Wave, which was designed for voice actors. Hope that answered it. At what point would you consider going union and why? I would go union. Well, I'm in union, but to answer it hypothetically, I would go union as soon as I could, because the best work is still coming through the union. The best pay is still coming through the union. You have someone to fight for you and your wages besides just yourself. You have somebody to track down money that, somebody may not have paid you, or get a late payment for you. You have somebody who's putting away money for your pension and your health care. So many unions, so many reasons to be in the union, and for all of us who work for a living. And even though our fingernails don't get dirty and we're not digging ditches, we are working for a living. The powers that be, that 1%, those billionaires would love to pay us less and less and less. You notice they got a big tax break. You didn't. They've made 500% more money over the past 50 years and had the biggest increase with this last tax break they got. You didn't. I didn't. None of us did. We need to band together as American workers. I hate to get this political, but so be it. The powers that be are very happy to keep us divided, very happy to pit Group A against Group B. You can pick whatever group you want. And we need to be smarter than that. Enough said. Oh, you're welcome, Dean. What's the minimum equipment needed to have a good home studio? You need a quiet room that doesn't bounce sound. You need a decent microphone. I think you want to have a preamp of some kind. You don't necessarily need to have EQ, although it's nice, or limiting, although it's nice, or an equalizer, although it's nice. But if you have those things, a decent microphone, a decent place to record that allows your sound to be clean and undisturbed by other things, meaning sound bounce or noises from outside, and you get a clean sound, that's good enough. You'll want to do more. You'll want to have more control. You get more control with some of the preamps and channel strips, with some compression, with some limiting, with some EQ. You get more control and you can dial in your sound better. But decent mic, sound chain that's clean, which means no noise, no hum, and you've got the computer already. And one DAW is as good as another. If you're using Adobe, great. If you're using Pro Tools, great. If you're using Twisted Wave, great. If you're using Audacity, great. It's what you learn on, what you're used to, what satisfies your needs. Some people are going to need more. If you're somebody who is a producer and you do a lot of sound effects with things and you're adding, then you need more than just someone who's supplying the voice and sending it on, which is what I do mostly. All right. So I went down to my local radio station and watched someone record a promo. A standing fan was on and people were talking in the background. This blew my mind. He edited and was done. Then the producer went to talk about how great the Blue Yeti mic was. Whenever I hear a Pro VO talk about equipment, they seem to discourage USB mics. Is there really that big of a difference? There was a much bigger difference years ago when the USB mics first came out. And there's a difference between, the category of USB mics and a Yeti. Every time I see one, it makes me chuckle. They're just not that good. Blue makes a lot of really great mics. That's not one of them. Now, if you're sitting in your office and you're doing a podcast, fine. But if you're a serious voice actor, a Blue Yeti ain't going to cut it. So, Yeti, no. Blue, sure. But get a better Blue. Now, he was working on a Yeti, you say, or I don't know who this producer was. The 416 that I have in my booth, people started using it. Ernie Anderson, who the late great voice of ABC, The Love Boat. He was that guy. Ernie Anderson is responsible for the 416 being used because he didn't want to be in a booth by himself when he was doing promos for ABC. And what the 416 does is a shotgun mic, and it's very, very directional. It hears really well what's in front of it and almost hears nothing what's on the sides. So he could be in that room with the other engineers with that mic pointed at his mouth and it not pick up the other things. Now, that's not going to help you if you have a room with a lot of sound bounce. Help you a little bit, but not that much. And of course, you don't want crazy noise going on. But it's going to not hear a lot of the noise that's happening. So get yourself a decent mic. And a radio station is a little different than here. A lot of times with compression and whatnot, and there are electronics that can filter out outside noise. They also affect what you sound like, so I'm not suggesting that that's what you do. You want to be in a clean, quiet room that doesn't have sound bounce. You need a little bit. The room needs to be a little bit a lot. But no. If you've got a Yeti, it's just fine for your podcasts. I would not try it for anything else. Twisted Wave. Yes, Alvin, Twisted Wave. Hey, Dave, I'm 16, and I was wondering if you do online coaching sessions with kids my age. I'd love to learn for you one-on-one. I would be happy to work with a kid your age. Get your parents' permission first. Let them know what you're going to do. The last thing in the world I'd want is you're using your parents' credit card, and now I'm getting a call, and why are you taking advantage of my kid? He's a minor, da-da-da-da-da. So make sure that your parents are on board with what you're doing before you reach out and get with me for private lessons. Other than that, happy to do it. Wait, you've asked 5 times what? I can't go back and... You got to give me complete sentences. Well, give me the context. Looking forward to... Oh, yeah, right back at you. You are welcome. Well, that brings us to 6:42. And while anybody gets any other questions together, let me go back over the connection open thing. And why did I throw the note away? I think I can remember from my handwritten notes that, and I went through this today, they've had some issues. They've been putting this together for several years. But you go to connectionopen.com, you sign up, and you'll be using a particular email address. You will then go to your email. They will have sent you a confirmation letter. You click on the confirmation letter and download the program. Then if it's right there on your desktop, click on that. Or if you have to go into your applications folder, find it in there, click on it. And then send, you can set it up with your computer. Then send a letter an email to randy@connectionopen.com, letting Randy know that, hey, I just signed up for Connection Open. Send it from the email that you used to sign up and let him know, hey, I just signed up. Send me some passes. And I believe you can share passes. You can share some of those passes with, say, prospective clients and other voiceover talent, just so you can try it out, see what it sounds like. Okay? Okay. And who would be calling me now? Deb Summerfield. It's on his website. Yeah, there it is. Greg, hello from Pittsburgh. Dave, hey, Greg, how you doing, man? Good to have you aboard. Well, you know what? If you don't have any more questions, I'm going to start, wrapping this up. As I do that, I just want to say I hope I get to see a lot of people, a lot of you, at That's Voiceover and the Voice Arts Awards. It's going to be a great time. When you're hanging around with a bunch of people that know what you're going through because they're going through it or have gone through it. And you get to see people actually having some success, and you get to hear their stories of where they started and the ups and downs of what they did, and have battled through and are thriving. It's a really good thing. I know sometimes in Hollywood, I hear it especially from actors, the jealousy, oh, they got that part, they got that part. Most of the people I know, myself included, I applaud my friends when they're booking something. Our competition isn't so much with each other as it is being the best we can be. That's one of the unique and wonderful things about people in voiceover. We really do support and help each other, and it needs to continue, and I'm sure it will, because that's the way it is. I don't see it changing. Is there a type of character you've wanted to VO and haven't yet? Right off the top of my head, I can't think of one. I've had the very good fortune of being part of almost every major iconic property, Marvel, DC, Star Wars, just everything. I think if I had the kind of character that I would like to play most would be something that hasn't been done before. Playing Lee Everett in a video game was a dream come true. To have a character no one's ever known before and make that character iconic. It's a rare and wonderful thing to have happen to you in your career. Randy Morrison, Dave, thank you so much for your kind words about Connection Open. You rock. Randy Morrison is the guy who's been putting it together all these years, working his fingers to the bone and spending all his money. How can you separate the good VO training programs from the others? You know what? It's getting easier, actually, to do that. And going to have an announcement later on about some more ways to do that. Who's working with them? One of the reasons you want to go to a That's Voiceover is because you will see the people who are the good voiceover trainers there. You will see them on stage. They will be answering questions. I will be one of them. You want people who your sense of what they want for you is the best. You're going to pay us some money. You are going to pay us some money. But if it's somebody that just seems like that's all they want is your money, that they're just patting you on the back. Oh, yeah, it's great. Oh, it's good, super. Yeah, just speed that up a little bit. Yeah, it's real good. That's probably not the person for you. As an instructor, I have to critique. I have to tell you when I'm not hearing it like I think I should be hearing it. And I have to be able to tell you what it is you need to do to change that. And that comes, and not everybody that's a great voice talent can do that. There's some great voice talent out there. They're just naturals. They're not quite even sure what they do. They just do it. And I know in the last 5-6 years that I've been teaching, I'm getting better and better. I hear things 5 years ago I might not have heard. I have ways of sharing with you what it is I want you to change, what I want you to do that I didn't have 5 or 6 years ago. And every teacher I know that's been teaching for a while has the same thing. We learn about how to teach by teaching. We already had a real good idea. But things like just say it. What is it that they mean? They probably mean don't work the word so hard. You know, sometimes one of the biggest problems we have is overdoing. You know, most of us worry about underdoing, but more often than not, we're overdoing it. We're doing too much. We're giving it too much enunciation, too much feeling. We're too loud. All of those things. And it comes from, one, not knowing, and B, not trusting that you're enough. You're enough. Your voice doesn't matter. It does not matter what your voice sounds like. Funny, quirky, high, deep, sexy, raspy. It just doesn't matter. If you can connect to people here and here, you have a shot in this business. You want people to have an emotional feeling when they hear you. And I'll give you a little exercise that I ask people to do. Early in your career, you should, and maybe from time to time after that, ask your friends, your family, and people you don't know, what are the words that come to mind when I talk to you? I know it'll sound really weird to go in a coffee shop and say, excuse me, I'm trying to, I'm starting my career in voiceover, and I want to find out what they feel when I'm just talking. Because all of us elicit different emotions from just the timbre of our voice and our personality. And you want to know what that is, because the closer you get to that, the more you can do that, the more you can really connect. I also suggest to people, hey, take your phone, record yourself when you're hanging out with your friends. Find out what you really sound out when you're really just being you, and bring as much of that to your work as you can. You'll be surprised how different you sound when you're your authentic you, and the you that you think you have to be when you're doing voiceover work. And am I saying that voice that I just did, that delivery won't work? No. You want to be able to do a number of other things, but I find most people, the toughest thing for them is to really be themselves. Work on that. Work on that. Steve, I heard you in Incredibles 2. Did you hear the audio commentary where the animators talked about you during the part in the movie? No, I didn't. Steve, get to typing, man. Tell me what they said. And, things like wow, I'm in Incredibles 2. Okay, it's a small part. It's a couple small parts. Three small parts. But, man, what a joy. What a joy. But, Steve, type, man, type before I get out of here. One more time, this weekend, coming up, the Voice Arts Awards on Sunday. That's voiceover on Saturday. Every other year it's in L.A. Looking forward to seeing all my voiceover buddies. I'm seeing Crystal Lee Brown there, fine actress in a number of movies, and just did a major video game that we were talking about the other day. Let's see. They love your voice and want to have dinner with the judge and hear him talk all night. Oh, that's good. They're going to have to pay me if you're out there, people producing all the, I'm open for dinner. But make it something good. Yeah, I was a judge near the end of the movie. Did a couple other parts, but the judge was really more my voice. Anyway, that's enough for Ask Dave Fennoy tonight. It has been a gas, as it always is, and I will see you next Wednesday. Same bat time, same bat station, 6 p.m., Facebook Live, right here. See ya.